This is probably going to be the most controversial.
Sweet.
So I'm going to be very careful how I word my things because, again, I want to present that we can do this, but we don't have a mobile tester.
What's up? Welcome back to our roundtable conversation where we take a topic and we really just go as deep as we can to figure out exactly what's going on, why it's happening, and to try to clarify as best we can anything that might be a little too murky or gray. This is Tom Warner. He's one of our rigging inspection managers. He's in the game for over 20 years, 25 years now? 23 years now, almost 25. Lots and lots of experience. And then this is Mike Close. He's our content specialist. He does a lot of the research and writing for the projects that we do. And then I am the videographer. So can we kind of start by just going, why would you proof test something? What exactly does proof testing do? And why do people need to do or not do it?
Well, why you would do a proof test is, when we make our new welded alloy chain slings, they proof test in order to test the manufacture of the welds.
Okay.
Whenever they repair an alloy chain sling, it's required, but what we're going to proof test our manufacture or assembly. Those are really the requirements related to why you would proof test something. Or a customer might just have an internal standard that says, we need this, some nuclear facilities, something like that. Might have some very special requirements where they really need some special load test documents.
And that's kind of a value-added service that we'll offer for certain customers, part of our agreement if we partner with them.
Absolutely, and then that's really where, the only time you're going to address an item requiring a load test.
So what would be like the main purpose? Would it be like a lead time savings thing? Maybe they just think that if you bring the machine to my shop, you test it there and then I get it right back same day, as opposed to if they ship everything to your facility and then it's got to work its way through the process and get cleared and then get shipped back?
That's the exact reason that almost always comes up. This inquiry to actually take a piece of equipment to do field testing is what we call it, usually pops up about once a year.
Okay.
We always just get somebody. It's usually across the automotive industry because they do have, sometimes they do have an internal requirement, a corporate policy that says you shall do this.
Okay.
So we start digging into all that, and it is a very complicated process, and we do have to have some deep conversation. But not related to the automotive is just when we get the general inquiry, it almost always boils down to somebody just told me I need my stuff tested.
And we just figured we would do it here.
Right.
Okay.
And so then we just start asking, and what it always comes down to is, you just needed a periodic inspection.
Gotcha.
The word tested got thrown around and really, or even the word certified. And really the conversation is, you just need a periodic inspection. So we can usually eliminate a lot of that request just with the good Q&A. When we get to the actual proposal of being able to take a piece of our equipment, whether it's a horizontal or vertical or both, then we really need to start digging deeper. What do you have? What are the sizes? What are the lengths? We need, because we need to know that to know capacities. When you're talking your below the hook stuff gets really fancy sometimes.
Right.
And are we even going to be able to rig it properly to get a proper, are you looking for a functional test or are you just looking for a structural test? And then, the conversation even gets deeper there.
Sure.
Because if you think about some of the things we make here in our below the hook department, they have to make special fixturing just to be able to properly test some of these crazy items that they're contracted to make.
So talk about the logistics and the personnel required to even pull this off.
Right. We have two pieces of equipment we obviously can take from our facility and take to your facility, but we'll need a lot of assistance in order to get it offloaded, get it set up, get it electrified, make sure we're in an area that is low traffic.
Right.
We don't want to be out in the middle of everywhere, because obviously
right in the cafeteria.
Exactly. But we have guarding.
Yeah.
But if something lets loose, you kind of want to be positioning yourself
Yeah.
safety. And like I said, if something lets loose, are you prepared for losing whatever item you gave to us? Because if you're giving us something that you homemade, you are kind of playing with fire there.
Yeah.
Because you might be asking us to go to 125% of what you think
Right.
a capacity is, and heck, it might get there. But what if it deforms?
Yeah.
What if it blows apart?
Right.
How do you know it's not going to fail at 130%?
I don't know if you've heard a sling break. We've heard it because we sit over by the area in the shop where they test it. It is loud. And there's sirens that go off once they start the testing, let everybody know in the area that this is occurring, and it's literally an explosion. when it does
And I'll
break.
tell you, I've heard dozens and dozens of slings get destroyed, and it's never like, oh yeah, I'm used to that sound. That's what I expected to sound. Every single version of a sling, chain, whatever it is, they all break a little bit differently.
Everybody needs to be aware that that's going on and be clear and free from that area when it's happening. So
Right, and on the way we can internally proof test items is really much different, because if you think about our long tester that you guys are talking about, that thing could be set up to around 125 feet with the extensions. I think it's 660,000 pounds, but can be modified to like 800,000. Maybe not that quite that much, but that thing's a monster.
It is a
Of course,
beast.
you can take a 20-foot sling and nylon sling that's going to stretch another 3 and test that thing with no problem. We have multiple different size pins, so you get the right D to D for your eye sizes, are you basketing, all that kind of stuff. When you think about taking something into the field, and we know there are some competitors in the field that do this probably on a very regular basis, you need to understand how slings themselves, and even below the hook, but slings specifically, are proof tested. How are you rigging them up so that they're tested properly? When you're talking about your alloy chain slings, you cannot hook into the body of a leg,
Right.
because the chains are not designed to hold 2 times capacity in the body.
Right.
So you're going to bend the link. How are you doing that? If your proof tester stroke is 10 foot or even 15, what do you do with a 20-foot leg?
right.
And
So there, like, you can do it mobile, but with mobile comes a lot of limitations.
a lot of limitations, and you really have to, again, inform yourself on the front end about the processes of this testing. Don't just assume. Ask your questions, inform yourselves. Allow us to answer questions for you of why it's so much different internally than it is going to be externally. The capabilities are just different. Not impossible, but just different.
Well, and talk a little bit about some of the programs we've developed with other customers, where we have a kind of a repair exchange program, where we will actually come on site and pick up your slings that are either damaged or maybe questionable or have actually failed, and we'll take them.
Right. We have with your slings in below the hook, we have a repair bin process, and whether or not you engage in that, that's fine. But if you have items that you think you may have damaged, or you damaged, or you just found something in the corner and you're unsure about, just send it in to us. It'll go through our process. If we're talking a sling, if we're talking an alloy chain sling, or a wire rope bridle, or nylon bridle, or twin path, send it in. It goes through our internal operations repair process. An individual will look that thing over inch to inch, write up a report, present it to sales, and they will contact you with, hey, this thing is just fine. It's just going to require a load test, and we'll give you a certificate, or a load test and a retag or something, and here's your price. Or we'll say, listen, this thing is just garbage.
Right.
Here's why. It's got 4 bent hooks, 2 stretched legs. By the time we chop all that off and do this, it's just more effective to buy something new. Same thing with your twin paths. Are the fiber optics okay? Are the telltales okay? The check fast working? Tagging? Is it cut? Was it cut open and we actually found damaged fibers? All that stuff.
So when you're doing that exchange, the exchange program, is it like an Indiana Jones style thing where you just take their bad stuff and you replace it with good so they still have stuff? Or do you expect they've already got their extras available and in service?
We expect they've already got their extras in available service,
Okay.
or available for service. If you do have something, and I don't want to speak too much for operations and whatnot, but if you have something, just let us know that's a hot rush, and we'll do our best to address it, because that's what we do. Just give us information saying, hey, listen, we're in a pickle, we need to send it in. Who do I send it into? Where do I send it in? What's my turn time? What's, this, and this, and obviously our experts will work with you on every aspect of that. But that's internally.
Yeah.
That's internally.
And again, that repair bin program, if you are kind of burning through some product, I mean, that's a great program because you work with us and we schedule pickups. So you know that you've got product coming in, product coming back, and you're working on a schedule, and we can work within your timelines for that type of program.
Yeah, we have a customer we do an inspection for down in the Carolinas, and they have the repair bin program. We do their inspection every other month.
Okay.
And our guy will pop slings in there during the inspection. He may even leave the facility with those slings that are in the repair to get them back to the office, to keep that program going for you. But same thing with all of our inspectors. But that's how it's handled on the internal.
So, I mean, we were kind of talking earlier about until you've heard a sling break, there's nothing quite like it. It is an explosive kind of reaction. And I know it's fascinating for me, and I've been out there a dozen times, and I still really think it's interesting just to see it all happen. Do we let people come in and see our proof testing process, like customers, if they were just interested, what exactly are we doing? What, how do we figure out the working load limit? Is that stuff that we offer?
Yes, we want customers coming in to see our facility and to see how we do things. And if they just want informed on, hey, I'm really torn, I really think I need all my stuff tested, come in and see, and then let's have further conversation as to, well, what do you really, really need?
Sure.
Because because here's where I'm going to challenge anyone back when they say on an annual basis they want all their stuff proof tested. What are you accomplishing? If something's in the field, they're all designed by law and standard and design to be able to be visually inspected. And during that visual inspection, we're trained and they're designed to be able to spot or show physical defect. So when you're talking about your alloy chain slings, they're designed to stretch, they're designed to twist, to bend. Your nylon slings are going to show cuts. They're going to show stitching popping out. Your twin pass with all the different warning systems over the years that they have. Your wire rope bridles are the wire ropes breaking. Are they, 5 and 10 and all that stuff. Same thing. But if you're thinking, yeah, well, I just want peace of mind that I want a certificate for everything, and I'm like, number one, think about what you're going to spend.
Right.
And how much do you want to spend on proof testing a $5 nylon sling?
Right.
Well, is it worth the $50?
Well, let's look at it this way too. I mean, if you think about it, there's so many different, especially today. I mean, online, there's so many different ways you can buy rigging equipment. Why not go through a company that has lifting specialists, that has actual physical rigging shops that are making this, they're testing it? If you're worried about the quality of your equipment and you want that peace of mind, maybe you're not buying the best stuff to begin with. I mean, lean on the experts and make sure that they understand your application. They can provide the best recommendation for what you're looking to do. I think that's important as well.
Right. That's a big stress in this conversation is let's have the conversation.
Right. Yeah.
Let's have that conversation. And again, getting back to the challenging question is also when you're proof testing something after the fact that doesn't need repair or anything like that, and it's just fine, it passed a visual, all you're doing is a controlled overload. And so if you're taking a chain sling and it's been in service for 10 years and you're just thinking, man, it just passed a visual, but I just want that certificate. I just want to know it made it to 2 times. What did you prove? what did you prove? I mean, how do you know that it hasn't seen things, and it might only, they're a 4 to 1 factor. How do you know it's going to make it to 3?
Right.
But again, you just overloaded it and you admitted it. I just don't. Just the logic right there, I'm not comfortable with. And again, I want to have that conversation. But when you think about the proof testing of your below the hook, a lot of those devices are so custom that, again, when we're making them, we're making custom fixturing just to be able to test them.
Right.
So if you think about in your facility, well, geez, I've got like 50 of these custom below the hook lifters. I'm like, so what you just said is you got 50 custom tests.
Yeah.
What are you willing to pay to do 50
Right.
custom tests? Because I just can't take this something, throw a bunch of shackles and hope to God I am testing it right.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. You know what I'm saying? So again, as you're seeking this information and people are offering this, inform yourselves to be able to challenge what's being really offered, and just inform yourselves.
And you were talking about transparency too. You encourage customers to come out, tour a facility,
Sure.
see how we proof test stuff. Let's say that there's a mobile crane company or some other company that's doing on-site testing, or even in their own facility, but that door is very clearly shut. They do their own thing and they'll send it to you when it's done, but they don't welcome customers in. Is that a cause for concern when people won't let you see the testing process of the slings that you're having them test?
To me, I think it's a conflict of interest. I mean, we're not just going to have 100 customers lined up each day to watch all their stuff.
Right.
We'll work with you on it, but certainly, I mean, if we're fabricating something for you, or we had a customer who's been sending in about 25 chains every month for the last 2 years, because they have what we call a process facility where all these chains are wrapped around bundles of steel. Mm-hmm. And as bundles of steel are freed up, they're taking chains and sending them into us and saying, we need to clean up our program.
Right.
Yeah, but if you're the perfect candidate to come in and see exactly what we've been doing every time your 25 come in. Mm-hmm. I mean, and create that level of comfort with yourself, saying, wow, but that's a super cool process. You took something, you inspected it, you passed it, you failed it, you showed me how you can repair it, you showed me the proof test process. I'm great with that.
Yeah.
Same thing with the people with the below the hook. If we'll be a testing house for you, absolutely. And we'll make that arrangement with you. Yeah, come in and learn. I mean, come in, and that's why we're creating all this content. It's no different. I know we advertise it all the time. Hey, you're considering us for something? Come check us out.
And I mean, again, it comes down to training. I mean, here in Cleveland, we have a training room where a lot of our trainers work. We'll bring groups in from different companies within the Cleveland area. They'll come into our facility, they get their training program. A lot of the trainers take them right out to the shop,
Yep.
and they'll give them a shop tour and show them everything we can do here and all the capabilities. And I think that's huge. It's all about being open and transparent.
And so to wrap up, I have a couple rapid fire questions for you. So how much gear does it typically take for us to unbolt a proof testing machine and throw it on a truck?
Well, if you're talking about our vertical, it's a 50,000 pound unit, I believe. Stands 12 feet 2 inches tall, if I remember correctly. You're going to need to unhook it from the electrical, which I believe was, again, 440, 3-phase. The computer software is obviously hooked into it, so that'll all need to be unplugged. Mm-hmm. And can that be plugged in at the customer's facility, I believe, into the internet, so it can still be functional.
Right.
I'm not sure if it stands alone or if it has to be on the system. But then obviously it's 12 feet 2, so there's cylinders on each side. Mm-hmm. So you're going to have to take it to the ground. When you pick it up with the tow motor, it's obviously not balanced because you've got a very heavy base with the cylinders. So you're going to have to very carefully pick it so as not to damage the cylinders. Right. And obviously we're going to take our load cell out, right? Because we don't want to damage our load cell. Mm-hmm. We're going to get it on a truck and we're going to get it to your facility. Do you have a tow motor big enough with long enough forks? That's another thing I just remembered. is I believe we need at least 8 to 10 foot forks on a tow motor
Okay.
in order to get underneath it and pick it up all the way.
So we get into the truck, we get it on the truck. Do we bring the tow motor with us?
No.
Okay.
That's what we're gonna ask you is, do you have the equipment to even be able to get it off our truck?
So then to get on site, let's say they have that tow motor, then what do we need to hook it into their system? Do we need, somebody's got to plug it in, right?
Somebody's gonna stand it back up.
Okay.
Somebody's gonna, an electrician or a qualified person is going to hardwire it in or put their own plug on it.
Okay.
Because I think there's a lot of different plugs. I know I can think back to the days of an automotive company. They had their own plug, different from any other plug out there. So they had to take off ours. An electrician had to rewire it,
Right.
plug it in, and then we run the cylinders up and down to test the phasing. If the phasing was off, he'd have to go back in and rewire it. So you test all that.
Yep.
We then put everything back together, and we have to be in a, like I said, in a secluded area
Right.
because there are gates, protective guarding.
Yeah.
But again, we still want to create the safest environment possible.
So then do we have to supply the operator, like our Jason Eisen, to run?
Yes, we'll put our own people. Our
Okay.
people can run it. Our people can do the rigging as best as possible.
Right.
Again, because we'll have determined ahead of
Whatever
time
they have, yeah.
what they have and can we even do it.
Right.
And then there's other things is okay, is your safety personal responsible going to approve this?
Okay.
Because they then have to understand what's really gonna
Yeah.
happen. Do they understand the piece of equipment? Are they gonna approve it? I know our hydraulic cylinders are gonna have hydraulic fluid. What happens if when they were unloading it, one of their tow motors snapped one of our lines and
Because then
hydraulic
you have
fluid-
hazmat.
Then you've got hazmat,
Yeah.
so you're talking MSDS,
Yeah.
all these other things.
So that you get it there, you hook it up, you finish, and now when you're tearing it out to go back home, same electrician's got to unplug it.
Yep. And if they bolted it to the ground, which they should, they're gonna unbolt it. Probably have to remove their lag bolts or burn them out. They're gonna have to topple it, load it back onto the truck, and then we're gonna get out of there. So that's just a lot of time in itself.
And so who eats that cost? Is that
That's all part of the job to the customer.
okay? So in order to facilitate the truck ride both ways, the electrician hook it up, all the personnel that it takes to pick it up, move it,
all the
put it
cost.
down, all that gets eaten by you, the customer.
Right. And it'll all be quoted as a package.
Right.
But again, those are costs that are involved, and we understand other vendors have different ways of doing it,
Right.
which is fantastic to them. I'm not here to celebrate them or question what they're doing. I wanted to merely identify what the questions you should be asking and understand why it is a challenge,
Okay.
why it is possible, but also why it's so different than you just taking something and sending it in to us.
Right.
Not all
Yeah.
the time you can, that's why you need the mobile testing. But understand, just like anything else, are you receiving what you're paying for?
Right.
So you have to be able to witness
Yeah.
what's happening.
So the main reason somebody would pay for all this is to really shorten the lead time. How long does it take something to make it through our testing center? Like how long is that process? A day? A couple days? Obviously, it depends on how much gear. But
It depends how much gear, and obviously, if it was a big project, we'd have it sorted out.
Yeah.
You know, we'd have the logistics sorted out. But days, you know, a couple of days, a day, depends on how much, and again, what the prearranged plan was. But again, that they can execute. That's why we have all the experts and all the proof testers and all that stuff that we do. But again, I know the challenges of a customer who's got 100 of the same item along an assembly line.
Yeah.
And they're like, our requirements, we got to take them all down and we got to have them tested. Good enough. Is what we're going to be quoting the most efficient way to be doing it, or is there another solution? And if you're seeking somebody out, just make sure you understand what you're supposed to be receiving.
And again, I mean, it all comes down to, lean on the experts, make sure you've got the
Sure.
right product for the application, you're buying quality, products not necessarily based just on price, and, invest. Tom discussed, how costly that process may be. Maybe take that money and invest in training.
Yeah.
And invest in your crew and make sure that they understand how often they should be inspecting their gear,
Sure.
what they should be looking for. at some point, the testing may just be kind of a security blanket.
Right. And how much you want to pay for that? Because I can tell you this conversation, these efforts are not inexpensive in any way, shape, or form. They're just not.
Yeah.
They're just not. And if you're getting a very low price, really look at what you're receiving.
Yeah.
That's fair. Yeah.
Right on. So, like anything, the point of this conversation was for you to start your own with your team. If you need mobile testing, I think it's clear here that we can do it. It is absolutely possible, but there are so many factors that go into getting this piece of gear in your facility that you got to figure out whether or not it's worth it to you to do that, or if it's just more worth it just to send it to us. Because from an efficiency standpoint, that's the first thing that I would go with, especially the bin replacement program. If you know there's a process where you can just dump gear and then automatically it'll get siphoned out, repaired, replaced, and returned to you, I mean, that's got to be the easiest thing to set up. That seems like a pretty legit program. But really, more than anything else, we just wanted to address this mobile proof testing versus in-house proof testing concept just to kind of highlight the differences. There's not one better or worse. It's more of a preference, but it just, from a cost efficiency standpoint, if you want us to put this gear in your facility, you're going to pay for it, and it seems pretty costly to do so. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. So if people wanted to just talk to you about whether or not they should send their gear in, or maybe start that program that Mike was talking about, is it best to reach out to you or hit us up through the website? What's the best method for them to contact us?
Get a hold of me. Get a hold through our website. And again, if you're just get a hold of us.
Yeah.
Again, and we'll get the conversation to the right person. Because if you're talking, sending stuff in, that's internal operations and sales.
Yep.
If you're talking about a group coming to you, that's my group. Let's just talk.
I think that's important. Is let's just have the conversation.
Sure.
Let's get it going.
Yeah.
And for research, I mean, isn't there a good bit of content already up there on the website about sling inspections, rigging inspections, stuff like that?
Oh yeah. And again, make sure your team is educated, and make sure you invest in the training and develop an in-house inspection program.
Yeah, and then we even did a video pretty recently. If you want to see what it looks like to actually proof and brake test a sling, we've already got that for you. I'll throw the video up there in the corner. You just click on it and go check it out. So, Tom, Mike, guys, I appreciate you spending the time. Hopefully you were able to benefit from this and learn a little bit. If you have any questions, reach out. My name is Devin. Thank you for watching.